Welcome back, everyone, to the week Who Would Win. This one comes to us from Alex Mercer, who asked the question, who would win in a fight? Rey and Kylo Ren versus Ahsoka and Galen Merrick. Now, when this is a difficult one because you're asking me to put it's a 2-on-2 fight. I take everything into consideration. So I'll be honest, I'm gonna try to just sum it up as best I can. All four of these characters are immensely powerful in the Force. All are extremely good combatants, but who would honestly win the overall fight? Well, let's look at each one individually. Ahsoka was a young apprentice to Anakin Skywalker in the Clone Wars, but she eventually, I can't remember if she was exiled or if she just had to leave, but she kind of just didn't agree with the Jedi after a while. Ends up coming back in Rogue One, and apparently is still alive beyond that point, thanks to what we know of Rosario Dawson being cast as Ahsoka in Clone Wars, or in The Mandalorian Season 2. Spoilers if you haven't heard that, it's been announced months ago. But she's dead by Rise of Skywalker. She was a very powerful Jedi, though. A dual wielder. I can't remember exactly what her style was. Was it Jarkai or just a very kind of a combination of Ataro and Jarkai? The point is she used, at a height of her power, she used two single-bladed, white-bladed lightsabers. And she used them to high degree. Now, she wasn't physically a very powerful fighter, but she was a very agile fighter. Able to even fight Darth Vader for a little while up until that kind of, blew up in her face. Skilled, very powerful in the Force, but still, ultimately, she is just... She was never stood out as a Jedi Master. She was never an Obi-Wan, a Yoda, a Mace Windu type. She was just a powerful Jedi. Galen Merrick is the focal point of one. I don't think it's both the games. It's one of the games where he is essentially a clone designed by Vader to basically be his apprentice. And, whenever it failed, he just would grow a new one. If I remember that correctly. I could probably be remembering that completely wrong. But he eventually turned on Vader and, ultimately, fought against him. He was powerful enough in the Force to rival even Sidious for a while. They ended up clashing in one final confrontation, and Galen's the one that wound up dead from it. But he still was able to push Palpatine to a certain degree. He didn't actually pull the Star Destroyer out of the sky, but he did alter it slightly. Like, it's a direction where it was falling, all that. And that's an immensely powerful feat. He able using both light and dark side techniques, lightning, healing. He also was a dual blade wielder. His was a bit more of an aggressive style, though, as he was able to take down a lot of opponents. He was just a very powerful individual. Now, here's the problem. By the movie's own admission, these two, Rey and Kylo, should be equals in their respective sides of the Force, the dark and the light, but then Kylo obviously went back to the light and became Ben again. These two should theoretically be like the end-all, be-all, minus Palpatine himself. But in terms of the power of the Force. But we never see anything that really indicates they're that powerful. They're powerful. Please don't misunderstand me. They are powerful. But to everyone who thinks Rey's a Mary Sue, no, she's not a Mary Sue. She F's up. She actually makes a lot of mistakes. And Mary Sue isn't someone who does that. Now, she learns from her mistakes and does overcome them ultimately, or she has to, bug out of there when she thinks she can save Kylo, and she can. But, Rey's just a naturally raw, talented Force user with a little training, even going into Rise of Skywalker. She only had Leia for training. And apparently we learned that Leia did train as a Jedi at one point. So, I guess she did get training, sure, but... we actually rarely ever see her do a Force push, now that I think about it. Yeah, we never see, besides pulling a lightsaber towards her, we never see any true impressive feats of telekinesis with her, now that I think about it. Minus the floating meditation stuff, which is impressive in its own right. But she's a competent swordsman, though not, and I'll say this, of the four here, she is by far the weakest swordsman, bar none. She's a melee fighter, don't get me wrong, but she is not a honed swordsman that has crafted her skill over the years like these three have. So she's going to be playing the defensive side of things when it comes to the fight. We do see that she can influence minds, but against these two, that's not going to matter. We do know she has like the forced Skype thing with Ben, but again, in this fight, that's really not going to help. I mean, unless you're going to try to fake out and stuff like that, that really wouldn't work that well. In fact, that bond thing really doesn't work in this fight. And I'm trying to think of what other abilities we see her have. She does have some healing abilities. She does, which could help if Kylo gets injured. But even if she tries to heal him, they'll just come at her. So she's got to try to defend and heal at the same time. Not a very good strategy. I'm trying to think of when we saw her do anything else in the movies. But, I can't think of anything else she did at one point in the movie. She, as powerful as they say she is, she clearly doesn't show it. So yeah. Now Ben, we do know has a bit more power. We've seen a lot more things out of Ben. We know first off that even Luke was a little afraid of what he could become. So we know he had the raw potential to be powerful. That I think is the big key thing with Kylo Ben, is that his potential was raw and is there and could be so much more powerful than Luke or even Sidious. But the problem is he never achieved that potential. In fact, from what from the leaks we saw from the Duel of the Fates script, that's the Kylo we could have seen, and that Kylo would have been a far more dangerous individual. But unfortunately, that's not what we got. And looking at what we got in Duel of the Fates, I'm not saying it would have played out better on screen, guaranteed, but I would have rather seen it. I don't hate Rise of Skywalker. I like it, fine. It is the weakest of the three in my mind. Though it's got the most problems, and that's including Last Jedi, which I love. I will defend Last Jedi till the cows go home, but I will not stick my head in the sand on the problems of Last Jedi. I did videos on the problems and the good things and the bad things about Last Jedi. Anyway, I digress. So we see that unlike Rey, his telekinesis is far more capable, far more powerful. He's capable of freezing people in place. He's capable of stopping a blaster bolt mid-firing, which is very impressive. I can't remember. Did we see him use telekinesis, like in terms of like a force push? I don't think we did. But I'll be honest, he probably could have. We see that he's got a high pain tolerance when he got shot by Chewie's bowcaster, which was blowing the crap out of stormtroopers who are wearing body armor, and Kylo's not. And he still kept going, even punching himself in the wound to get that pain and anger going. Even injured, he was able to pretty much play around with Finn until Rey stepped in. Even then, he was pretty much winning that fight. He's clearly a far more skilled and experienced swordsman. Even in Rise of Skywalker, where Rey has had training at that point, he clearly was the better swordsman. The only reason he actually lost that fight is because Leia distracted him. So there's that. He can go into people's minds as long as they're not like supremely stronger than he is, or at least equal or competent in the Force. He's obviously got that precognition that most Jedi have. I'm trying to remember what else we saw from him. We actually didn't see that much else from him, but we know it's like his raw potential was there. It would have been cool to see maybe he did Force Lightning or something. And that's another thing. I did forget that. Rey can use Force Lightning, which is weird. It's a dark side ability, but she firmly stayed in the light at the end of the movie. I think that might be because she was like leaning towards dark for a while, but then ultimately she did come back to light. So that's why I think possibly her lightsaber is yellow. It's a blade that's supposed to be indicated by someone who has dabbled in the dark, but has ultimately chosen the light. Whereas Windu is like very in the middle. That's why it's purple. That's at least what the color signifies. So now that being said, what Rey and Kylo have an advantage over Galen and Ahsoka in is the fact that in terms of teamwork, they have worked together, and even while they were still technically enemies, they've worked together. When they fought in Snoke's throne room, they worked together, even though they were technically still on the opposing sides. So they know how to work together a lot better than Ahsoka and Galen would. So they have teamwork on their side now. So if these two met in combat, or these four met in combat, who would win? Well, the thing is, even though they have teamwork, these fights are usually going to probably be one-on-one still. So it's a matter of who's going up against two. I think it still would be Ahsoka versus... I think it would be Ahsoka... Because Ahsoka and Galen also have years of experience on their, at least Ahsoka does, years of experience on their belts and dealing with the dark side a lot more and fighting it than, say, Kylo and Rey did. They were still new to it. Kylo fell to the dark side, and, fighting against it, not something he's normally used to. So Galen would probably recognize, first off, I think Ben was the stronger of the two between him and Rey, let's be honest. It's indicated pretty heavily that he was the stronger of the two. That being said, yeah, Galen would probably go to Kylo, and Ahsoka would go to Rey. So their fights would go down. Now, and I don't think you'd see a lot of in between, like, she tries to go help Kylo, no, Ahsoka's going to keep her right there. Or Ahsoka goes to try to help Galen, Rey's probably going to keep her right there, so forth, and vice versa. So a fight between Ahsoka and Rey, unfortunately, the sheer experience, dexterity of her style, the fact that we know she can use telekinesis in terms of a force push, and the fact she's dual blading, or dual wielding, really puts Rey in a bad spot fight-wise. First off, we never seen her fight against a dual wielder. We never saw that. So that already puts her in unfamiliar ground. Kylo, you could probably make an argument, because there are also comics. I never read the comics, but you can make an argument he may at least have experience going up against a dual wielder. The problem for Kylo is going to be is that Galen's going to be a far more aggressive opponent than even Rey or Kylo or Ahsoka would have been. And even though Kylo is a very aggressive person, he's still going to have trouble going up against someone who's equally aggressive, also has knowledge of the dark arts, but knows how to utilize a lot more of them, including telekinesis, force lightning, and force healing, which the dark side really doesn't do very well. That is one of the traits that, the dark side can force heal, it's just not as effective as the light side force healing, at least, again, as far as I know. And again, you still need to have some space and time to heal. So Rey is probably going to go down against Ahsoka. Even if she tries to call for Ben, Ahsoka just force blast her, and she's just going to go straight into a rock or something. If this is taking place in a valley or something with the hills and rocks and stuff, go just square into a boulder, just boom. It's Rey, and then Galen's where are you looking? And then he just grab Kylo. Kylo might try to grab him back, but in terms of what we see displayed by these guys in their respective canons, be it the movies, and be it the games, Galen's has showed far more actual power than the potential that Ben showed. Ben may have the potential to be stronger than Galen, but that's not what he showed in terms of what he was capable of. So going by what they were capable of, Galen has shown more than Kylo has. And unfortunately, if that's the case, then I think even though they wouldn't work together well probably work as swiftly as a team, their overall experience and power as a whole makes the team of Ahsoka and Galen the more likely duo to win. The problem Rey and Kylo really have in this fight, ultimately, isn't the fact that they couldn't be more powerful, and ultimately wouldn't be more powerful than Ahsoka and Galen, given time and training. It's the fact that they aren't masters of their crafts. They're still learning. They're a team of potential, whereas Ahsoka and Galen are a team of actuals. There's the possibilities that come with Team Kyray, or Reylo, as the shippers called it. There's the possibilities that come with the Reylo team, but then there's the actualities that come with the Ahsoka? Oh, no, not that word. The Ahsokan. Actually, Ahsokan's not bad. Galen. So yeah, Ahsokan. Team Ahsokan versus Team Reylo. It's the actual versus the potential. And unfortunately, the actual is far more, what we actually see both these teams get love. It leans very heavily towards Ahsoka and Galen, in my opinion. So in my opinion, I take Team Ahsoka and Galen. What are your thoughts on that, though? Put in the comments below. Let me know. Do you think there is a very real way that they not only take the win, but take the majority wins? Like in a 100 battles, they take the 51%. Let me know what you think in the comments below. But until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow. This is being pre-recorded for Tuesday, on Monday. I'll be back tomorrow, Wednesday, with the What If, new What If, by the way, and the other who would win for that day. So thanks for watching, and see you next time.